be happening. And interestingly, as my title is today, that Evergrande is expected to delist tomorrow, August 25th. And I think somebody mentioned, this is from someone, let me just pull this one out. So this guy said on August 2023, Evergrande filed for Chapter 15, protecting their $350 billion liability from foreign creditors, as the meme basket saw their worst month to date. And he mentioned GME, IP, AMC, Chewy, BBYQ, and Ape were canceled shortly after 2023 August. Let's check it out because I actually been forgot about when ape conversion actually happened. So ape conversion actually happened on August, yes, August 2023. He's correct. Very interesting. Evergrande will delist on August 25th, which is tomorrow, bigger than we thought. So yeah, he actually brought a very interesting point, and then I think it is a very big for the market. And yeah, so basically, yeah, he's saying that the Evergrande, the value is about about 350 billion, up to 500 billion dollars, and then the short hedge funds such as Citadel, market makers and short hedges, they basically use them as a collateral, right? So they use them as a collateral to short other basket stocks such as GME AMC and BBBY. And interestingly, Ape were canceled shortly after Evergrande filed Chapter 15, August 2023, right? So the timing wise, cycle wise, it's very I think very interesting. And I think we start to see a Bitcoin start to dropping today. It's not a lot, but I'm gonna show you in a bit why we are actually about to see a dump based on RSI and MACD I'm seeing here. So this is from 2017. Every 4 years, as you know, there's a bull run, right? And there's 4 years, basically the halving event, and then you know crypto pumps, and then after that there's a dump. Interestingly, this year and last year, I think there has been a lot of institutions such as BlackRock, Vanguard, things like that. I think they start adding ETF, Bitcoin, and I think there's a reason why they're doing that, right? They're pumping liquidity before certain events happen. And then now when you look at RSI, I'm just kind of looking at either a more this is like a 3 days, by the way. I look at more weekly as well, but it's much easier for me to kind of show you. This is 3 days, or you could use actually 2 days, but I thought maybe I could use 3 days just for a better presentation. So as you can see, so right now when you compare to what happened in 2021 November before the downside happened, right? Basically the bear cycle. I think we're basically pretty much very close to the end of it. And the reason I'm saying that is because when you look at RSI in 2021 January, that's when RSI was the highest, right? But in terms of the price has been kind of keep pumping up, right? About second times. It created a second double top before heading into a bear cycle, which means even here, when you look at this, I'm gonna just draw a circle here just to, just for you guys to understand when was the highest point, right? So the peak was here, which was the first peak happened in 2023 around November or December, and the second highest happened was 2024 March. So, and then since then, yes, there's a bit of a volatility happened here, but as what you can see is every time it hit the all-time high, one thing that you want to also notice is that the RSI was never hit higher than 2024, early 2024, or end of 2023, which is quite interesting. Right now, it also hit all-time high in terms of the price. However, the RSI, it shows a downward, Do you see? Do you see the decline, right? So if the price is up, the RSI is supposed to be higher than what you seen in 2024 March. However, it has been kind of going downside, which was also showing up here as well in 2021 November, when this thing hit pretty much like all-time high, um, more than 2021 April, but then RSI was below this level. So I think that Bitcoin will going into more downside rather than going upside, right? And as you see what's going to happening to the financial market, right? I think there's going to be a fraud will be exposed fairly soon. I don't know when it's going to happen, but something's going to happen to the market. Also, Putin has been kind of mentioning about there's going to be, he's trying to expose the financial mortgage fraud in U.S. market. He's been really vocal about that in the media, on X. He used to follow me on X, but for some reason, I think for about a few months ago, he unfollowed me. And then, I recently moved to a new city. And then before I moved to a new city, I met with a Bed Bath shareholder. And then he also said that Putin used to follow him, but he also unfollowed him as well. So I think as he became more involved in politics and he wants to stay away from the community that he was involved in, which was Bed Bath Beyond. And then another interesting thing is BBBY, Bed Bath Beyond. The ticker is coming back on Friday. It's coming Friday. So the same week that Evergrande is delisting Monday tomorrow, but the same week on Friday, BBBY ticker is coming back, and I do think that that's very interesting sign. And also, when I look at the Bitcoin, it's also is about to collapse, so going downside. So I'm wondering why this, maybe active investors such as Ryan Cohen or Carl Icahn has been kind of waiting for the timing, right? The macro timing, right? You know, I think the institutions, they got involved in Bitcoin and they pumped the Bitcoin. They create ETF, and then as you follow X, they start to dumping their assets, right? Cassie Wood, she dumped Bitcoin as well, right? So a lot of things are actually happening when you look at the news, when you look at the public filings from how the institution is moving currently, and I think they understand what's coming, and then they're taking advantage of this in advance pump before the market dump. And I'm pretty sure the institutions they know what's going on with the market. They understand what's going to happen in the market. So I think they're looking at it in more technical point of view as what I'm looking at, but also possibly maybe the macro perspective too. So none of this is of course financial advice, but this is something that I'm kind of looking at for a year, for a couple of years as well. So just want to share you with that. Bitcoin could heading into down cycle. I haven't been talking about this Bitcoin collapse, but it hasn't been started yet. And the interesting thing is because I think now they're using crypto, right? They're using more ETF. The institutions involved in more crypto, and then they can always buy time. I think they can use the crypto, as you guys probably heard of this before. What is the one of the market makers name? Doug Sifu, right? The Verge Financial. They use Solana, right? They use Solana as some sort of a financial liquidity provider, right? So they use Solana to pump the liquidity, right? In not only just crypto market, but also in this financial market. So I think now the market makers are involved heavily, getting more heavily involved with crypto, and then they can still keep that liquidity, which might be fake, right? And that's why how they buy time. Maybe that's how they buy, just the time. And I think they're just waiting for that right timing to dump the asset, and then it might be the trigger might be tomorrow, with the Evergrande getting delisted, because when you think about it, if the short hedge is used, if they actually use Evergrande as a collateral to short basket stocks, right, such as GME AMC and COS ETC and Bed Bath as well. um, and they need to liquidate their assets. They need to, if unless they don't want to get margin call, right? So what asset can they liquidate, right? Maybe one of them could be Bitcoin, right? And I think there's a reason why they are pump the assets such as Bitcoin in early on before there's certain events happening, right? Because they maybe wanted to waiting for those events to come, and they need liquidity. They need money to cover their ass, basically. And as this time comes, Evergrande delisted, maybe Bad Bath Beyond is about to come back. They need the money to cover their short positions, and who knows how much is going to be impact the financial market. But I think there's a reason why all the big tech stock run like crazy. This crypto run like crazy, and I think time has come. Time has come to really just show what's going to happen into the financial market, and we're gonna see maybe next 2 months. Um, and I think this week it will be definitely very interesting to look at. As you can see, MACD as well. I just show you RSI. When you look at MACD, this MACD line is also heading below, slowly heading downwards, right? As you can see in 2021 April, it was the MACD level was all-time high. However, when the price hit even higher in November, pretty much create a double top. The MACD level start to decline, and then when this thing hit the double top, this thing start to just just like collapse, like just like a melting ice cream kind of, right? um, I don't know how the fast I don't know the speed of how fast they're gonna drop, but those are the things that something we cannot predict, because how, as you can see, in order to run this thing at the time, it ran really fast. However, when you look at this run, it run very slowly compared to 2020, 2021. And then who knows, this could come down faster than this chart, but I just kind of bring the same chart here and then just kind of extend it to match the timing of current cycle, current speed, basically. And as you can see, the all-time high in MACD was 2024 December, similar to RSI. Price dropped a little bit and come down to hit all-time high. If the price hit all-time high, you understand the MACD has to all-time high. But as you can see, MACD didn't do all-time high, still in this below this level, right? Last time it hit the December, right? So it's kind of basically showing a similar, right? Very similar path here, right? So in my opinion, from tomorrow or from this week, something could happen, right? So as you can see, it hit here, right? Same level, it hit here, right? So, and basically they kind of create a double, bottom here, right? And then yeah, I don't see going up way. I think only thing I could see is the downside, which is going to mimicking very similar to 2021 November, right? So that's kind of when basically the collapse begins. So yeah, let's see if this cycle will happen this way. Let's come back to GME for a second. I did post this chart about this week or last week or something like that. I'm basically just kind of mimicking. I'm not mimicking, but I'm looking at the cycle, right? So like let me show. I think I've mentioned this one before. Looking from much more bigger, perspective. And every time there's a cycles involved, right? There's a bull run, there's bear run, there's a accumulation phase, things like that. And from 2013, from 2019 was pretty much the bear cycle for GameStop, and then I do believe that those short hedge funds start to have a short positions. I remember it was 2014 for GME and entire basket stocks, and then they wanted their mission. I'm not mission, but maybe their goal was to bankrupt companies, right? But they fail, right? So Rowan Kitty got in here in 2019, and then Ryan Quinn got in here in 2020, right? So and as you can see, this yellow line is the 200 moving averages, and this blue line is 80 moving averages. When this cross and then 200 moving averages above the 80 moving averages, that's when create a bull run, and then they start to comes up and then hit this thing and then just create a short squeeze. So I'm looking at a bigger picture from weekly and looking at where we at. It's the same thing. When the blue line is above the 200 moving averages, that's when the down cycle happened. It happened here, it happened here, it happened here as well in 2020. Now, when you look at this, the moving average, this 200 moving average is about to, going up soon, right? So when this thing flip, somewhere in September, end of September, October, I think that's when you start to see upside, which could be somewhere like this, right? So I'm expecting not like like insane short squeeze, but I'm looking at more like a slow squeeze, such as what happened to Tesla before. That's just my opinion. So let's kind of go back to where we at now, and then I'm gonna show you a comparison between where we at and then how the algo looks like compared to 2020 before the bull cycle kicks in. Okay. None of this is financial advice. So this is just me just speculating with a chart and some of the simple indicators such as MACD and RSI. So anyway, so let's jump on this one. So on the right side, I'm going to start with fractals here. This is the 2020. So I want to take you back to 2020 here, and they have a March earning. Okay. I want you to also pay attention to the speed of algo. The speed of algo back in 2020, as you know, when the COVID pandemic happens, the Fed prints a shitload of money, right? And that basically bring all the money, enter into this financial market, and the algo speed was way faster than current environment right now. So when you think about the speed of algo, speed of algo is approximately about 7 to 8 times slower than 2020, in my opinion. But the algo is very similar. So in 2000, before 2020 March, they create a certain pattern like this, go up and down, which is double bottom, which also happened here. Very similar to this, go up and down, right? And they had a March earning, and then that bring the price down to retest this level. Right? Why they want to bring this price down one more time? Because they want to retest 2021 February low, right? That's what I indicate here, and they hit that, and then they start to bouncing back. And then Rory Kitty got in, create a massive gamma squeeze. And the interesting thing is, same thing when you go back to 2020 March earning. They also hit this much, right? They come down a lot, about almost 30%, I think. Yeah, almost 45%. And where you come back to see in 2021 March, they about almost bring down the price 40%. So they pretty much, I think, mimicking this price, but the speed of algo is a lot slower. There's a gamma squeeze. Of course, the algo rise is supposed to move up as well. So that's what happened, I think. So Roaring Kitty kind of used the opportunity, used the cycle to make a much more bigger gamma run. And then after that, they create a huge some sort of a triangle formation. And also, as you can see, it's somehow mimicking a similar pattern here. And what happened after that? As you know, Ryan Quinn announced his first stake, 9.6% announcement on August 31st, right? Interesting enough, we got Bed Bath Beyond. BBBY ticker will change on August 29, right? Which is the end of the month, pretty much the same cycle. So I think, in my opinion, it's possible that we could start to see a similar pattern happening here in this whole basket stocks. We'll see, okay? So I brought the fractals from here because that's what I believe that they're running it. It's just much more amplified, right? But just to match the certain size here, I'm gonna just bring this color in. As you can see, from here, after this gamma run, they come down, right? Similar pattern, right? As you can see. And what happened? It goes up, come down. It goes up, come down, right? It did twice. and once it hit the bottom, it goes sideways for a bit, as you can see here in July. But you could look at this as more like, yeah, at the time it just goes sideways for only like just a few weeks, or even a month. But we're just going sideways for almost like more than 1 month. Like I said, because of the speed of algo is way slower than 2020 due to low liquidity environment. So that's why, right? So now we are about to experience some sort of a run, right? But I think it's going to be a very slower squeeze. So we're going to find out soon. And the FOMC is coming up on September 17. I don't know if Powell will cut the rate or something like that. I have no idea. But something is going to also happen here. So yeah, that's GME. So I think GME will, I believe, they start to kick the cycle, bull run cycle, very similar to 2020. However, in 2021, end of January, that's when the squeeze happened, squeeze event happened. Like I said, because the low liquidity, algo is way slower than 2020. I don't believe that we're gonna see a 2020 we're gonna see a squeeze in January next year. I think it's gonna be a little bit further. Right now, it says end of March, but I think it might be a little bit further. Who knows, right? Because they can always delay the timing. But we could definitely see something in 2026, a first short squeeze event. And that's not just only GameStop, but it's going to happen throughout the whole basket stock, such as AMC. So just keep that in mind. Also, I found something interesting about AMC. I have been following AMC for a while. I also wanted to kind of point out that when you look at the AMC in a much more bigger picture, maybe I'll do just 3 days rather than weekly. Weekly might be too just gonna be too much. So as you can see, there's always bear cycle, accumulation phase, there's a bull run, right? And then the AMC is typically, the bull run cycle is very short, right, compared to bear cycle. We had also a very severe bear cycle here. There is an ape conversion happening in August 2023. Same thing happened. The Evergrande filed the bankruptcy, right? So I'm pretty sure there's something tied to this AMC, the whole basket stock tied to Evergrande for some reason. I believe, because it's just it's really weird. Everything seems really connected here. Anyway, and then as I mentioned before, how the algo speed is very slower than compared to 2020. And right now the liquidity is way lower. So I think the cycle, it looks very exactly the same. As you can see, I actually made a box here that when you look at this down cycle here in 2020 February, when I think that's when the COVID actually event happened. They use the same thing happen here using ape conversion, right? But this area was connected to Evergrande. So if Evergrande is delisted tomorrow, what will happen to the basket stock? What will happen to the other assets? What's going to happen to other S&P 500, things that they have pumped, right? Like, let's say AI stocks, Nvidia, Bitcoin, stuff like that. So I think it's definitely interesting to keep an eye on those kind of stuff, how the hedge fund market maker will use those assets to cover their short positions, things like that. But I don't believe that we're gonna see a massive, like, a short squeeze right away. I think, like I said, it's gonna take a while. I think I'm looking at it more a more slow squeeze, right? But I might be wrong. But I want you to pay attention to this one, because I've been tracking this for a bit, right? So I believe that it was kind of going through this cycle here, but suddenly I think the algo change. And then I thought, okay, what could that, what kind of algo they change? And then the other thing I want to mention is that, as you can see, this is a 200 moving average, right? I mentioned about this yellow line. 200 moving average is above this 80 moving averages, and when this candle touches, that's when this bull run start to kick in, right? Which will happen here as well in 2021 January. So I think this is getting close to here, and the earning is coming up November. So I don't know if this will kick in September, October, or November, but I do believe that the bull cycle is going to happen fairly soon. Um, and this is just kind of rough ideas. It's not going to happen like this. I just want to show you a comparison between what happened to open door. As you can see, some of the stock, some of the small mid cap stock has been kind of pumped, right? Like 700%, 500%, something like that. And I want you to pay attention to this one because I found something interesting. This doesn't mean that it's going to run like this, but I just want to share with you that there's definitely something to look at. So I want to show you this chart between with the open door on the right side and AMC on the left side. AMC, after the Roaring Kitty came back last year in May, this thing exploded, and then ever since it's just started to come down and just kind of fucking around this $3 range. And then you might be wondering why, right? I think they're preparing for something big, right? And I want to pay attention to RSI. Don't look at the chart, just look at RSI. RSI is moving up, guys. Okay? Somebody is accumulating here, right? But but they want to they don't want people to know, right? Because you've been seeing these institution buyers in our GameStop, right? And I don't know how much the institution buying is happening in AMC. If anybody knows, you can post it on my X, the live stream below. But as you can see, the RSI, this is 3 days by the way, RSI is moving up. Okay, it's not coming down. That means somebody is buying here, right? Somebody is buying here. I want to pay attention to this one. Before open door start to kick the bull run, okay, from the bottom. Right now, I think the bottom is in here in AMC, right? Before the cycle kicks in, I want you to pay attention to this RSI here. I do find something very, very similar before open door kicks the run. Okay, I'm not saying you have to buy AMC or buy call options. You gotta be really careful with options. Of course, there's a time I made a lot of money. There's times I burn a lot of money too. So just really be careful with option. I think it's much better with shares, especially they might kill the theta. They might kill options. Just trying to just dragging out the times, right? Because that's what market makers does, right? Especially with the crypto, right? They can use the crypto and then just buy times, just drag out the liquidity, and then just fuck you over. So just be careful with options. But I think especially AMC, it's much better deal with the shares, in my opinion, not financial advice. But what I want you to pay attention is the RSI. Okay, this RSI hit this bottom here. Look at this. RSI hit the bottom, and the stock price hit the bottom here. And then this go up and down twice, but RSI is still very steady, right? It keeps making this a very nice higher low and create a nice triangle formation, right? When you look at this, I'm gonna draw a line here so that you guys can see it better. You see what I mean here? I think something changed, guys. The reason why I say that is because, I mean, yeah, if you guys have something other opinion, feel free to chime in. Definitely, you can drop your TA, whatever fractal that you're looking at. I've been looking at this for actually a long time, guys, since 2021 January. So I've been really picky about this thing, but I want you to pay attention to this. Something has changed. Okay, they changed the cycle. They changed the fractal. Sorry, the cycle is still there. They changed the fractal here. I don't know why, but they changed it. Okay, until here it was exactly the same. Okay, I'm gonna change the color. I want you to pay attention to this one. So this is 2020, February, March. Okay, when the COVID hits, it's the same final bear cycle. Okay, it hit the fucking bottom, coming up. That's when Roaring Kitty comes in terms of the algo wise. They come down. This time it kind of kind of shrink it down a little bit, but you can kind of see, the cycle here, right? This thing comes down, which is here, go up, which is the Roaring Kitty's tweet, and then squeeze happen. It kind of happened very rapidly. Come down, go up and down, and then yeah, it came down here, and then it went up, come down, it went up, come down, and they do something like this. I thought they're gonna do some sort of another maybe possible dilution or something to come down even further, but I don't think that's what's happening here, because when you think about the AMC, I think they're definitely changing their financials, and I know they have some debts and stuff, but yeah, there's definitely something's going to happen here. So and I thought, what if I start with the question, what if? Okay, what if the algorithm changed? And then I look at what happened to Open Door, right? Because why Open Door run fast? Why Open Door ran fast? And way earlier than AMC, GameStop. Why? I asked that question first, and then maybe they want to test this one. Maybe they want to test the algorithm, right? Because the reason I think about this way is because I remember back in the 2022 or 2023, early 2023, before Bed Bath Beyond filed bankruptcy, right? I remember there's a filing from the U.S. government saying they are testing with BBBY. I don't know why, but they're testing. Maybe they're seeing some sort of a financial risk if BBY comes back with the active investors, but something is definitely happening here. So I remember the using the test was very interesting for me. And then I thought, you know what if they test Open Door? What if they test Newegg before they run AMC and GME, another basket stock? What if? And I start with a question, and then I look at RSI, and then apparently it looks very close to Open Door. Okay. So I'm gonna change this one daily, because Open Door ran a lot faster. The algo kicks in a lot faster. So I'm using I'm seeing Open Door more like 1 hour chart, whereas I'm looking at AMC in more daily, right? So when you look at this, when hit the bottom, it starts to push it up and down, but it's making a nice triangle formation. Same as Open Door. Open Door hit the bottom here, start to making a higher low. And then RSI, when you look at clearly, RSI is making higher low as well. Do you see that? I'll make this one a little bit thicker so you guys can see it better. Right? Making a same higher low. Do you see? So I'm gonna drop a arrow here so you can see it better too, right? So one here, one there, right? 1, 2, right? And then after that, this thing starts going upside. Okay, same thing as GME, right? It kick up the run after end of August, from September to this next year March or something like that, right? Why are they doing this? I have no fucking idea, but they changed the algo for AMC, I think, to more like Open Door. So I'm expecting a run possibly from, let's see, possibly, maybe this should be more like this. Yeah, possibly from October, November. That's why I keep saying November, okay? That's when you're gonna start to see October, November is when you're gonna start to see a bull cycle. Of course, there's gonna be an upside, right? There's gonna be a bit of a turbulence, like when you take the flight, there's always some turbulence, ups and down, but the flight will continue to go up, right? It's the same thing. Same thing's gonna happen. There's a bit of a turbulence as we are going upside, like a little dip here and there, but this thing will continue to go upside until next year, and then that will be the final short squeeze event. So yeah, believe it or not, I might be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing here. Okay, they might change the algo to more like open door rather than running a same cycle from 2020 November December AMC. Okay, because that's how I was actually looking at, and that's why have been a little bit reluctant to do a live stream because um, I was little bit unsure about it, but now I start to see, okay, we'll start to seeing a GME run soon. We're gonna start to see AMC run soon, but AMC cannot go different directions when GME start to explode, right? And what kind of algo that AMC can be used, and I think AMC could possibly run like open door. It could be yeah, basically a slow squeeze. So I think we're in a pretty much like the end time, I think. And Bed Bath Beyond is about to come back soon, right? We don't know yet, how the old shareholder receive stuff like that. Nothing has been, completely like, we haven't really seen any, complete filings that how all shareholders will receive certain things. Like we need to, I think, see some distribution. It's called distribution plan, right? That's what Hertz they announced before, I think a month before shareholder received the cash payout, right? And share new equities and warrants and stuff like that. So um, I personally think that we might see that, which also J2B also mentioned that he could also looking forward to see distribution plan before anything could happen. And I have no idea, to be honest with you, but I think that's the step, right? The other side of Bed Bath shareholders thinks that because there's also there's some fraud payout and stuff like that, so maybe that can be kind of come through without any public announcements. I don't know, maybe that could be true, but I think just logically, I think in order for each brokers, right, in different country to get notification, they should be able to have some sort of a announcement from a third party release, or some sort of a public announcement or filings. I mean, it doesn't have to be public announcement, but at least it should have some sort of a filing to basically give a notice to brokers, saying, hey, this is what all Bed Bath Beyond shareholders will receive, right? And that's basically a receipt for them to get their cash and payouts. Otherwise, I think I don't know. It's who knows? Broker will be like, yeah, I didn't receive any notice, right, from third parties. They might just be like, yeah, fuck you, I'm not gonna pay you, right? Who knows, that could happen like that, right? So I do believe that there has to be some sort of a plan, announcement, distribution plan, or plan change, stuff like that, in order for all shareholders receive some sort of a payout. So that's just my belief based on some of the DDs and studies I did, which also I did here. And in changing a lot of, I mean, there's some confusion from the ticker changes from Beyond to BBBY, and I think that's part of the butterfly transaction plan, right? As you can see, this happened here. When you look at this, this is I think Canadian company, right? The Power Corporation Canada, Power Financial Corporation in 2020, right? Basically, this is a company, and there's a subsidiary, right? The financial corporation is subsidiary, and they have a Power Financial, and they have a Power Corp, right? So they have three different companies here, and then they did some sort of a corporate structure, and Power Corp, they acquire all the shares of the financial companies. So I think when you apply to this, to what's going on with the Beyond, and then BBBY and possible GMEs and other companies, who knows, what other companies can be involved here. And he says to achieve this, the butterfly transaction was utilized, which allowed the assets and liability of the Power Financials to be distributed between two resulting corporations without triggering immediate tax consequences. So So yeah, we all know, especially the Bed Bath Beyond shareholders, we all know that this is part of their plan. They want to preserve NOL, and NOL is part of the tax benefit for the acquirers, right? Um, and yeah, I think there's a reason why they're doing this way, because maybe it's much more complex transaction. It's not just very straightforward, acquire company A to B or merging company A to B. I think this is much more like reverse merger. And when you look at this, there was a waiting period, right? So there's a waiting period for necessary shareholders and regulatory approvals, right? So we might have to wait for maybe certain approvals for those things to come in. Once the approvals were secured, the old shares of Power Financials were effectively canceled. Okay, so the shares are canceled, but the Bed Bath shares had been already canceled in advance by filing Form 25. Basically, they did a voluntary delisting, and shareholder received shares in Power Corp, and which means that Power Corp buy all the companies, as you can see, right? The Power Corp acquire all the shares, right? And then shareholders receive the Power Corp, which means that they're receiving holding companies, which is the unit. So our community, I'm sorry, not our community, the Bed Bath Beyond community has been kind of speculated that it's possible that we could receive a unit rather than shares, right? And I think this kind of is a part of the proof that it is possible that all shareholders could receive a unit shares rather than just normal shares, right? So I think in behind the scene, somebody is buying a lot of shares here, right? Maybe Beyond, maybe they're acquiring Beyond, maybe they're acquiring both companies at the same time, BBBY and Beyond. Who knows who's behind the scene, but possibly a Carl Icahn, as we speculate, and Ryan Quinn. And after that, what happened was when after there was a regulatory approvals, and once that approval was secured, the old shares were canceled, and the shareholders received those new shares. But there's several gaps here, right? There was a gap, several days between approval and then cancellation of shares and the issuance of new shares, which is for holding company. So yeah, I still trying to figure out what's going to happen to QSIP number from BBBY, and then how they will be used for the teddies and stuff like that. But I do think that this is a part of the the reverse merger, and then it is part of the butterfly transactions, and it might, I don't know, it might take some time, or it might comes out right away. I have no idea. I listened to ABC Space Code today that um, you know they're expecting some sort of a payout, maybe cash payout first before new shares comes out, stuff like that. I don't know. I to be honest with you, I think there has to be a filing, and then everyone is now speculating at this point with some AI research or some of the historical data. But um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but all I think is I think it's better to say there has to be a public filings, and then that will resolve a lot of our questions. So yeah, let's looking forward to that. Hopefully, they could file some sort of filings for the old shareholders for Bed Bath this week or next week. Who knows? But I think things are really coming along, and I think between September, especially the October, November, is the a very very important week for especially the basket stocks. So um, something has to, like, the catalyst has to happen, right? So maybe the first catalyst maybe start with China, right? Ryan Quinn used to say China is a sleeping giant, right? Remember that? Let's look it up. Yeah, so this was a quotation by actually Napoleon. Okay, China is a sleeping giant, and let China sleep And for when she awakes, the world will tremble, right? That's the Napoleon from 19th century, you know. But coin use that same thing, right? RC. So Ryan Quinn used the same quotation, right? China is a sleeping giant. Let her sleep, for when she wakes up, she will move the world, right? So what does that mean, right? And then he tweeted that in 2022, June 12th. And I don't know if that means anything. But what can we learn from this is that maybe he knows about China. And Donald Trump used to say a lot about China too. So somebody mentioned that maybe China is some sort of a code, for the Q members. But I don't think maybe, but I think it's actually the fact because there's a lot of toxic assets has been built up from those short hedges and institutions, right? So maybe it is the actual meaning that when China actually something happened to China, and then that will expose the U.S. financial market, right? Even that happened to Japanese carry trade, right? Last year, when Japan started to hike the interest rate, that's when we start to see a sudden market crash. And why that happened, right? And when you think about it, that's because a lot of hedge funds, maybe the market makers, the institutions, the financials, they go to Japan because of the low interest rate, and they borrow a lot of money, and they use that money maybe to also cover their assets. They play around with the money, and again, who knows? I don't know. But now the Japanese start to increasing their interest rate, and they need to cover they need to bring money back to them, right? And now one of the biggest, I think third largest real estate in China collapsed last year, 2 years ago, and now they're officially going. Basically, they're getting delisted. What's going to happen to them, right? What will impact to them, right? And the thing that they have been doing with swaps, naked shorts, using this derivatives, and then using Chinese third largest real estate assets, using this as a collateral to just just fuck around with their shorts and naked shorts and whatever. What's gonna happen to them? And I think we're gonna start to find out very soon. We might see we might see a reset. Who knows? People talks about that a lot. And I think we have to really pay attention to that. Yeah, she also mentioned about the Evergrande as well, right? So people already kind of knew what's going on, and then China might be maybe the ticking bomb here, right? As well as Japan. You know, the other thing I want to mention is that Hong Kong, right? I remember there was a time in 2022. I think a couple of Chinese stock start to like run like crazy, like couple thousand, and then that's when Citadel went to Hong Kong to and then they expand their offices in Hong Kong, and the underwriter was one of the guy, I forgot his name, but he was one of the guy who always bashed GME, right? And then that company hedge fund was also connected to Obama foundations or something like that. I think I don't want to go deep with the politics here. I know Michael maybe is he's way better than me and then more knowledgeable than what I appear, but I think this is actually a way bigger than what we could have imagined, and this is actually forces versus forces, right? The whales are fighting with the whales, as well as politics stuff. So I think it could be quite big, and once we start to see the financial fraud, when they start exposing the financial fraud, that's the final collapse of the market, I think. And that's exactly what happened in 2008, right? Volkswagen squeeze. Why people talks about that? Because when you look at the chart, when market crash happened, the Volkswagen squeeze, right? So I think the squeeze will happen for sure. Um, and then they're gonna start to exposing financial fraud as what Pote is doing. And then yeah, people could tell right away when Bitcoin suddenly dropped minus 10%. I was like, people wonder why, and then maybe media will talk about why it is happening, right? And so out of a sudden, the meme basket starts to squeezing, and people talk about, oh, why, what's going on? I don't know. People will start to talk about some, dots connection, and I don't know how much the media will expose, but at the end of the day, I think they're gonna, a lot of people will know, and then, but yeah, before then, yeah, we just gotta be careful with whatever you're sharing. But also, I think yeah, we just gotta be prepared for what's coming. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Yeah, I think rambling too much, but yeah, I just want to share some of that thing with you. Yeah, this is another chart, institution buying for GameStop. There's a lot of increase, especially Q2 this year. I'm pretty sure the institution know what's going on, right? Another thing I wanted to mention again is that BAPFB, especially the Ryan Quinn, people said, oh yeah, Ryan Quinn dumped the shares, it's gone. No, it's not. When you look at this pitch book, August 18, that's when private, secondary private is completed, right? The deal 9, right? 2022, August 18, and that's about 2-3 days after Ryan Quinn, decreased his positions. And I think there's a reason why he did that, and that's because he wants to preserve NOL, which takes 3 years, and that is going to be this year 2025 from 2022 August 18, and August 18 already passed, and yeah, the Beyond changed their ticker, will be changing their ticker to BBBY. And why they're changing now? They could have changed it last month. They could have changed it like and early this year. Why are they changing end of August, especially 3 years after the private transaction deal was completed in 2022 August 18? You can think about that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, this is the one of the posts I mentioned before. 2023 October, after BBBY changed their name to DK Butterfly. And this is not only just my research, but I just combined with the people's DDs, and then I came to the conclusion that it's possible we could see some sort of a butterfly transactions, not just merger, not just A to B type of a simple merger, but much more complex transactions here, and then as I circle here, overstock with butterfly, and I think that's what we're actually seeing here. And the next thing is, I said Dreams on Me and Baby. I don't know if the Dreams on Me is the part of it, but I think they're gonna definitely do something with Bye Bye Baby, because that's what Ryan Quinn wants, and Ryan Quinn said that's several $billion assets, and yeah, he wants to make a valuable company for shareholders, right? He wants to maximize the value for shareholders. So I'm pretty sure he not only just using GameStop. Of course, GameStop is doing their PSA stuff, or the arcade stuff, but I think there's more than that, right? I think he wants to grow the company, right? He wants to make like Warren Buffett style. So he needs some undervalued assets that is attacked by short sellers, and he wants to bring back in, create a short squeeze, and the shareholders also take some benefit out of that too. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna do something with a baby. So I think it could be a GameStop and Bye Bye Baby, something like that. Just my speculation. GameStop is going to be involved, I think, for sure. So we're gonna start with this overstock and butterfly, and I think this the DK butterfly, I think is going to still be the Teddy. So the old shareholders will receive a unit after this merger completes, in my opinion. And that's the final short squeeze phase, I think, happening possibly between October, November. If not, somewhere in like March, I think, because that's when the chart show me. Everything explode in March next year based on current speed. But of course, if the market wants to delay the speed, they can always change the speed. But for now, that's what I'm looking at. So something can happen. And the interesting thing about the March is that I think March was the month that I think Ryan Cohen started to buy BBBY. Or he filed some sort of a SEC filings that he has BBBY shares, right? So March is another interesting month to look at. But yeah, that's kind of pretty much it for today. I think I covered quite a lot. It's been a while, so sorry if I ramble so much.